it's not how we make money. How we make money is through efficient management of labor. We're labor brokers, and they're trying to get us to move boxes.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a great way to put it.
And once you figure this out, you'll see the difference, because we have been told move boxes, move boxes, move boxes. All the PE firms, move boxes, move boxes, move boxes. We've moved more boxes in the last 10 years than we've moved in the first 100 years, because that's what the economy we've gone to. And then the margins are suffering. As soon as we have a slowdown, we have nothing to do, because we're built on moving boxes. 30%. I should have asked Adam this last week. This would have been a great question. Too bad we didn't get to it. But I believe 30% of our revenue is boxes. Let that sink in for a second. Because I found that a mix of service and some mix of plumbing install and some mix of plumbing service, I can get the margin better, higher.
Yep.
Right? Than just doing boxes. It takes a village to put in an AC system. It takes one person to do a repair. and so you got to have a mix. You got to have a good, solid mix. And so, again, it's important that we stop putting everything on revenue.
Impacts their margins. So, I don't know about you, but I negotiate pretty hard. But this year I got hit, especially with the new equipment coming out, with at least a 5% increase in equipment costs across the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, let's just say that equates to what? Minimum
$20,000 in my situation. Nothing.
Per let's call it, let's just say equipment went up $500 a pop on every install, right? Let's just say that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
Most people just completely ignore it. Most people say, oh, let's raise the price $500, or let's, they don't have a protocol of, hey, we got a price increase. It's going to negatively impact our margin unless we adjust for it. And so let's just say that your equipment target is 20% of revenue, right? So 20% of revenue, if you get a $500 increase in that 20%, how much do you have to increase your price point to make up for it?
A ton.
It's more than $500.
It's more than 500 because you just gave your tech a raise too, or you're selling people raises. Everybody's on commission, right?
It's more than 1,000.
And so if you're paying 20,
if you maintain the 20%, and then you got the techs, you got the install, you get everybody's on commission that gets a piece of it. You get the finance company. So, for every $500, you got to raise it $1,400 just to break, maintain the margin.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what keeps driving this problem that we're having in this industry, as an HVAC industry. And this is all relevant for plumbing, electrical, all this stuff. It matters. And so most companies, especially private equity, they only have two levers to pull. They can go and beat up their suppliers. That's lever number one. And raise prices is lever number two. And that's really all the levers that any of us have, except if you're not a private equity firm and you're an independent company, you're not beating up your suppliers at all. You're just taking it. If they tell you it's a 10% increase, you just take it. You don't ever question it. Have you ever thought about that? I mean, if you're listening right now, have you ever said, no, I'm not paying that? You never have. And so why not? Private equity's doing it. You're going to give me the best price. We're going to sell this many boxes, blah, 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 blah. So, but those are only two levers. That's all you have. With simplicity and efficiency, you add 100 levers to it, to what you can do. It's and knowing where you need to focus. So on your department manager, you need to focus on the margin, because that's a lever, and that's a big lever. That's going to do way more than having someone constantly fighting on procurement for discounts, right? That's a big lever right there. Having your technicians not have the ability to change pricing just to suit themselves. That's because the department manager's allowing it to happen, which means the owner's allowing it to happen. You can still sell at whatever price you need to make. If you stick to your guns and make it happen, if you offer the ability for someone to discount a price and get a path of least resistance, your tech, your department manager, they're going to take it because it doesn't hurt them. I'm going to give you all a secret real quick. If you're an owner, I'm going to give you a secret real quick. Every single employee you employ right now thinks you're a millionaire. Now, you need to ask yourself, are you? Probably not. And so the only way to fix that problem is to be transparent and make them understand that you're not making all the money. And that's how we get ourselves in this situation where we're paying this extraordinarily high commission rates, and we just can't get out of that. And then we got spiffs, and we got bonuses, and we got all this different percentages for this. And you just created another nightmare. Now you got a payroll nightmare. You got all these things that happen from these decisions that we make. All right, here's your chance to rant. There's a 4-letter word that has created this, and it's what? Come on, your favorite word.
Spiff.
Guru.
Oh, guru. Guru.
Take another sip of that energy drink. You need to wake up.
I think it's, it goes beyond guru. I think it goes back
best
to
practice.
Even
all the best practices groups.
My beginnings in best practice. It was like,
Yes.
This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
Yes.
Sell, move boxes, increase your price. Like that's what, the go-to, if we couldn't get people to take strategic actions within their business that were, moving the needle, the go-to was always got to increase your price. You got to,
It's still
get
that
these
way.
guys on commission. You got to, instead of just, basic managerial principles, just have them increase their price and have them do this and sell more boxes and get some sales training. And so it goes beyond just the guru. It goes back to the best practice groups. But I don't even know if the best practice groups do what what you're talking about in terms of the transparency with the new hired managers. I think you got a multiple step, right? You got to make sure you find the right person that's got the capabilities. Then you have to be transparent and you have to educate that manager on how to move the needle, the cost of doing business, et cetera, understanding the financial statements, understanding the impact of discounting of financial statements and all of these things. And then you got to compensate correctly. You have to align the compensation with everybody to the margins that you're. Next is nobody really trains from a managerial standpoint. Nobody's, this is something that you probably just have to naturally have, or, I don't even know where you could go in our industry to get training for it. But leadership is not just being a motivator. Right? Leadership isn't just going out and pounding your chest and inspiring people to sell stuff and, getting people excited and showing up. Leadership, the biggest part and probably the most important part of leadership is accountability, holding people accountable to the expectations that you set. And that's where almost everyone falls off the cliff.
By far. I don't know. I see 10, I talk to 10 to 30, 10 to 20 contractors a week. And it's almost like they're all in the same company because it's just identical, the same problem, just over and over and over again. And again, because of the way we've been coaching over the last 20 years, right? Coaching has been great, but at the same time, it's not always the best way. And we have to have more levers to pull. And we can't just let this be a distributor, manufacturer based industry that basically dictates whether or not we make money or not. We can't if we want to make real money, and my gosh, folks, real money in this industry is a 25% cash flow. Is what it should be. And until you get that, I was doing that when I didn't have any software. I didn't have any software and I was doing that. And I was not because I was, more expensive or any of that stuff. Is because we started putting this transparency in place from the very beginning. And my technicians can read a financial statement, at least the top above the line, again, above gross, right? They can read. And so we teach them what everything means. And so here we go. Summarize this. Department managers are only as good as how you can, as you make them, as you help them become better, right? They can't be bonused on revenue. You've got to stop that. They must be bonused on margins and improving margins. You have a minimum margin you got to hit, and then you need to improve on it to be paid extra. You need to understand that yourself so that you can implement this. You need to teach your technicians about it as well. I mean, there's a really easy thing that you can do at a meeting if you want your techs to realize how much it costs. A technician only is aware of the $100 of diesel or gas that he puts in his vehicle. He never thinks about the other vehicles that are in the company that are doing the same thing every day. And so when you show them a bill that's thousands and thousands of dollars for fuel only, it starts to hit at home to them that, oh my gosh, this does cost money to run a business. Just something as simple as that. Just tell them about that. Talk about that in one of your meetings. That's what you talk about. That's what we do, the transparency and how much things cost. And so be transparent. Stop discounting.
Absolutely.
There is a way to discount. That's why I built Sarah. I discount every day and never lower my price. Every day we're discounting, but never lower our price. So
that's great.
That's
great.
We give them the discount up front, but it is the price we need to be profitable. And so learn how we do that. Learn how we do that.
I'll tell you, this
very important.
This is going to be off on a tangent. You can cut this if you don't feel like it. But I was watching another podcast or an interview of some sort with The Rock. The Rock, the wrestler and actor. Yeah. And he was recounting his early days when he was in the WWF. And he went to Vince McMahon and he said, it's time for me to negotiate my contract. And who's currently the highest paid performer that you have? And the guy's name was Steve Austin. He's a Texas guy by you. And he says, okay, how much is he guaranteed? And he said, $1 million a year. And he goes, that's all I need to know. I want a $2 million a year guarantee. And rather than, saying no or saying you don't understand the business, he politely said, well, I think I'm open to that. But before I do that, I want to spend some time with the CFO of the organization, spend the next 3 months learning all the financials. I want you to understand the business of the entertainment business and how the business works. And then when you feel sufficient that this, because maybe you'll run this place someday, when you have that understanding, you'll come back and then we'll look and see what you think you should be able to make. And so he did this. He studied. He came back, and it was like a couple months later, and he says, well, I appreciate what you did for me. This has been very eye-opening, and I'll match the $1 million. And he said, I'm going to give you the 2. And here's why. Because now you have a business plan that shows me how you can get to 15.
Yep.
And I think that's, that perfectly sums up, what we need to do with our technicians.
Yes. That's exactly what you need to do. That's great. Why would I cut that? That was like your most genius moment in the 50 years I've known you.
That had to do with the WWF. What do you know?
That is a cool story. And that is exactly what I've been doing with my folks. I mean, and that is what we have to do. We have to give them a path. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Every week we're here to give you nuggets, golden nuggets, if you will, to help you run your business better. The little things that we don't have time to think about or do, we're bringing those out in the open. You're not going to get this information anywhere else, and it's very important that you like and subscribe so we can build this channel and we can help everyone in this industry as much as possible. Well, thanks again for watching.